Hello, 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 and welcome to the January Curious Octopus box. This month we are making a macrame wall hanging. Everything you need is in your box. If you want to get involved in next month's box, the whole idea is we make something completely different every month. We try out a new craft every month. It is accessible to everybody. It's mainly aimed at adults, but kids can join in if you feel like they're capable. Last month we made a felt Christmas garland. This month we are making a macrame wall hanging. If you didn't get a January box, you're very welcome to just try to make this anyway, get your own stuff. I am using 5mm macrame cord. In the box there are beads. There is a pole. You can use a bit of driftwood. You can use whatever you want. And that's pretty much all you need. You need something to cut these with. You need a measuring stick. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and try and make this now. I'm going to try and be really, really clear with all the instructions because basically the square knot is the fundamental knot that we're going to learn in this. These are square knots here. It's probably quite hard to see now because it all just looks like a whole wall hanging. But what we're going to learn is a lark's head knot, a square knot, a spiral knot, a berry knot, and a double half hitch. So that all probably sounds like gobbledygook at the moment, but it will make sense by the end of this video. Right, we're going to get on. First, we need to cut 14 lengths of our macrame string, and what we're going to do is make this middle bit. We're going to ignore this bit for the minute. We're going to make this middle bit first. Okay, so we need 14 bits of macrame, and we're going to go for 300 centimeters of each one. I have included in the Curious Octopus box a measuring tape, but I've got a bit of a trick. If you get your measuring tape, hold it at about 100 centimeters and kind of, measure up roughly how far apart your hands are. We're just going to go for that with the macrame string. So I put my macrame string on the floor. I know that about that much is 100 centimeters. So I'm just going to go, right, let me move this one out of the way because this is just my display one. That's one I made earlier. Right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and cut there. That's all I'm going to do. We don't have to be really exact with our cutting. We're just going to go for it and we're just going to lay them over there. Okay, so go ahead and cut 14 lengths of 300. 1, 2, 3. You're all falling down. Please do feel free to go and follow all my socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. CuriousOctopus.art. Really appreciate it. And yeah, what we do is make a completely new craft every month. I'm only new. I've been doing this only for 2 months, so I am sorting out some teething problems. Hence having to film this again, because I've done this on the live and technical issues. Very fun. But 2, 3. That's the thing, you learn, don't you? You live and learn, you go through issues and you try and fix them. Oops. Right, 14. We are now going to learn how to do a lark's head knot. Okay, so this is our starter knot. These ones here. This is how we're going to start all of this row. So what we're going to do is we're going to get one of these pieces of string, make sure that the ends are, so what we're going to do is double it over, okay? So this is one piece of macrame cord. We're going to double it over so we've got a loop at the top and we've got the ends hanging down the bottom. We're going to have the single ends at the bottom and you've got your loop at the top. From the front of the pole, we're going to put this over the top, open it out, and these two we're going to go through that loop, okay? So, pull them all the way through, tighten it up, and there you have your first lark's head knot. Right, we're going to do that for all of the cords. So make sure they're even at the bottom. From the front, over, spread the bottom open, and then thread that through the loop. Okay, and then position it next to that one. So we're going to do that all the way across. From the front, loop it round, thread them through. Sorry about my squeaky chair, it's annoying, isn't it? I am currently making a macrame wall hanging, and my business is sending out craft boxes once a month of a different type of craft, a completely different craft project every month arrives at your door. And then once a month I host a live online craft night and I teach you how to make it. So this month is a macrame wall hanging. Last month was a Christmas felt garland. Last month we learned how to back stitch and blanket stitch. And then we've threaded all of these, it's about 400 pieces of felt for each garland, onto this beautiful Christmassy garland that I had hung up on my mantelpiece, and it was really, really lovely. It was just so nice to have something that I'd made myself hanging up. And the idea is I'm trying to get that sweet spot between doing something, I mean, crafting and doing something creative is good for your brain. I'm always shouting about that. But I'm trying to get that sweet spot between doing something creative that just kind of like makes you think about whatever, but also that I want it to be a bit of a challenge. So you really have to engage that creative part of your brain, but also you get all those endorphins and all that dopamine from completing something that was a bit of a challenge. Do you know what I mean? So this is one of those things that you think, oh my goodness, if you've not ever done it before, it seems like a bit of a conundrum. Is that the right word? No, maybe not conundrum. It seems like a bit of a, well, it's a bit taxing on your brain because you really have to think about it. But it's so good for you. So, so good for you. Right. So I'm just going to tighten these all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have our 14 lark's head knots across here. I hope you're all happy with that. We're now going to learn how to do a square knot. So this is the one that's a bit tricky. But once we've got this, like stick with it, once we've got it, you're going to be flying. You'll be able to pretty much make whatever you want in macrame. Right, what I'm going to do Each of these knots is made up of 4 of these cords. So for the beginning, I'm just going to get rid of all of these and loop it over there so you can just see these 4. So we're going to learn how to do a square knot. If you think about a square knot, these 2 outer cords are going to be basically knotting around these 2 middle cords. So these 2 middle cords are going to stay straight through. They're going to go straight through the square knot, okay? So once you finish your square knot, these 2 are going to be straight and these 2 are going to be knotted around it. Just try and think about that. So we're always going to start for the minute with the left cord. This knot consists of 2 cords together, but one's one way and one's the other. So I'm going to talk about a figure 4 and a cross shape. So I want to just explain to you what each of those means. So the figure 4 is when you're basically making a number 4. Right, forget about that one for the minute. So if we're starting on the left cord, we make a number 4 shape. And to make that 4 shape, you're basically making a cross. Now I'm going to talk about about the different types of the different parts of the cross, and we're going in and out of each part. So when you create that 4, you've got a top left section, a top right, bottom left, and bottom right. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I've created the number 4 with my left cord. I'm going to take the right cord round the front, and it's going to go under the bottom right and up through the top left. Okay, so we'll start that again. I've got my left cord, create a cross over the middle 2, over the front. I'm going to create a cross over the front of the middle 2. And then I'm going to take the right cord, it's going to go under the bottom right and up through the top left. Okay, pull it all the way through. And can you see that they're now wrapped around those 2 middle cords? So what we're going to do is just pull these 2 apart and they should move up. If it starts dragging these up, hold them down and then pull that up. Okay, so that's half of a square knot. Then to complete this square knot, we do the same thing but the other way around. So we start with the right cord, make a figure 4, but it's a backwards figure 4 now, to create these 4 compartments. So we then take the left cord, we go under the bottom left and up through the top right. So we're coming back through the body of the 4, okay? So we go under there, back up through the top right. Hold these 2 down and pull these 2 apart. Try and make sure that these stay flat. So that is 1 square knot. Now I'm going to move that one out of the way and I'm going to do the same with the next 4 cords. Try and make sure these are all quite evenly spaced, but just about touching each other. Right, we're going to do the same again. We've got the 2 middle cords. Take the bottom left, take the left cord, and over the front of the 2 middle cords, we're going to create a 4 shape, creating those 4 different parts of space. We're going to take the right cord, we're going under the bottom right and up through the middle of the 4, the top left, under and up. And then I'm gonna pull that, not super tight, but tight so it sits flat. Take the bottom, keep saying the bottom, take the right cord over the front of the 2 middle cords. We're going to take the left cord underneath, up through the body of the 4 and tighten. Now I'm going to go all the way along and I'm going to complete 7 knots across the top, 7 square knots across the top. So if if you carry on and do that. One's a bit lower than the rest of them, so you can push it up a little bit. Make sure that they're as even as possible. Right. With this design, we're going to try and create this V shape. So what we're going to do is take out 2 cords from each side and then knot the next lot together. So take 2 cords off of each side, and then what you'll notice is we're going to take 4 cords, but it's taking the right cords from this side and the left cords from this side. Okay, so then we're going to create a square knot, which is then going to connect these 2 square knots together. So same again, exactly the same way that we did it before. Create the 4, right underneath and up through the body of the 4. And then the same with the left. You don't have to take all of these out. And actually, sometimes it's kind of easier for the first row because you know what you're doing, but you don't have to take them out every time. So that's the first 4 done. Because also it might make you a bit confused with these last 2. But you can see where you are from the gaps here. Okay, so we've got our 6 square knots here. We're going to take another 2 off of each side and carry on with the next 4, making sure you've got 2 from this side and 2 from that square knot and 2 from that square knot. Oh, helicopter. Have you done anything creative today? Have you done anything crafty? Would you like to get involved in the February Curious Octopus box? I send you everything you need to make a completely different craft project every month. It arrives at your door, it's a bit like a HelloFresh or something. So everything you need is in the box for $29.99, and once a month I go live online and teach you how to make it. So if that's something that you think you'd like to do, you are very welcome to come and join us. I would absolutely love it. There's my website and there's curiousoctopus.art. Right, take 2 more out. And I'm currently making this, I'm filming on 2 devices. So I'm live with one on Instagram and I'm filming the other for YouTube. I don't normally film a separate one for YouTube. I normally just put the live online, but there seems to be a bit of a corruption or something going on with the live that I did the other night. So I don't have the full video, which is a pain in the bottom. So I'm doing it again, and I thought I'd stream to Instagram rather than TikTok so that anyone that doesn't use TikTok could see it on here. So we're making a Macrame wall hanging, which is the January box, the January Curious Octopus box. Every month I send a box of craft equipment to make a completely different craft project every month. So last month we did felt. We made a felt Christmas garland. This month we're making a macrame wall hanging. Next month it might be, I mean, I know what it is, but I can't tell you what it is because it's a surprise. And the idea is that I'm trying to encourage people to try different things. If you love the new craft, I had a few people that said, oh, I don't know if I'm up for the macrame thing. And they were the people that actually loved this box the most. So there may be some crochet, there may be some paper quilling, there may be some mosaics, there may be some, I don't know, making a table lamp, making a lampshade, there's going to be something different every month. So get involved if you'd like to do something more creative, or if you know someone that would like to do something more creative. Right, we finished with a single knot. Make sure you do the single knot at the bottom, don't leave the two. It's making my face itch. Right, let's bring them all down. So, hopefully by now you will have mastered the square knot. We are now going to learn how to do a double half hitch. This is a slightly different one. So this is the one, this is a double half hitch. So basically what we do is we take the outer cord, which is going to be called our travelling cord. So that's going to be this one and this one. And what we're going to do is basically with each one of these individually, we're going to do a double wrap around, and it will take this in to the middle, and it will just give it a really lovely thick feel. So let's take our, so make sure that you always know which one this one is. We're going to keep this one in our right hand, and we're going to keep it a bit, it's a bit like the middle chords of the square knots, where it stays straight through the middle of whatever's going on around it. So we're going to hold that one there, take the second cord, which comes underneath that one. See, this one goes on the top, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically make a loop behind, thread it through. It's basically just a normal knot, and then we're going to thread it right the way up and push it right the way up. Okay, we're going to do that again. Thread it through, hold the travelling knot still, and push the double hitch up. Okay, get the next one, keep this one in your right hand again, up and over. Can you see what I'm doing there? So I'm using this hand, this finger, to, this one comes underneath, loops and goes up through that loop. Okay, keep the travelling cord in the direction that you want it, and pull the hitch knot up to where you want it to be. This will keep this in a nice straight position then. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way across. Don't just pull them apart. Keep this one straight and then push it up. We get to the middle, we're going to do the left side of this middle knot, and then we're going to stop. So all of these knots are, well, they're knots. So they will just stay, once you've finished each one, they will just stay where you've left them. So that's the left hand side done. We're now going to go ahead and do the right side. So it's the same thing, but on the other. Oh, I'm so sorry, my nose is so itchy because of this, because of the fibres. Right, so we're going to take the right cord. And again, this is going to be our travelling cord. So this is where our brain starts to think, oh, how are we doing this? Because it's the other way around. It's really good for your mental health though, because it just gets you focusing on everything other than, well, it gets you focusing on this rather than everything else that's going on in your life. And do you know what? That's just really good for us sometimes. So we are going to do this travelling knot, the double half hitch coming down this way. So we're taking our right cord, and we're holding it with our left hand, and we're not going to let go of it. We'll take the second one, stick this finger out, loop it behind, and then thread it through. Hold this one straight and push it right up. Losing it. And same again. Right, we're now going to tie these two together. It doesn't really matter which way you go. If you notice that one is slightly lower than the other, then I'd use the higher one as your travelling knot. So basically the left one of mine is just maybe 1 millimetre higher than the other one, so I'm going to hold that one over again, keep this one underneath, and just do a final travelling knot. Double lock. I'm going to do a final double half hitch. Sorry. So that one's staying straight, and then we're going to tie it off there. So if you can see, you can kind of give it a bit of a squidge and make sure it's all sat where you want it to be. You can kind of, if it's not quite straight down here, you can kind of roll them up and down to make them sit a bit straighter. So that is our starter. We've done our square knots and we've done our double half hitches all the way down. The next step is we're going to learn how to do berry knots, but we're also going to add the beads. Now, I sold more boxes than I was expecting, so I only have 2 beads left. So I'm going to show you how to put the beads on. But for my one, I'm probably just going to have, or maybe I'll put those 2 on. I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you where to put your beads on, because you will have 8 beads in your box. So I can show you where to put them in. So we're going to start off with the outer ones. I've got my beads. I'm going to show you how to put it on here, but I'm not going to put this one on, okay? So if you fold this over, thread it through. Don't try and do it from the end because it frays and it's really tricky. Give it a bit of a twist, pull the bead, pull it through. Okay, and then just stick it up to the top, and it'll pretty much stay there whilst you're doing whatever you need to do next. Right, I'm going to not put it on this one. Yeah, I'm not going to put it on this one. So we're going to take the first 4 cords and we're going to do the square knot again. So your bead will be sat here. We're going to do another. Do you remember how to do it? I'll go through it again. The 2 middle ones. Let me move this out of the way. The 2 middle ones stay straight through. Start with your left cord. We're going to do a left cord, cross it over the front of the middle 2. Take the right cord under the bottom left, up through under the bottom right, up through the top left. Okay, I'll do that again. Take the middle 2 cords. Take the left cord over the top of the middle 2, make a 4 shape, take the right cord under the bottom right, up through the top left, up through the body of the 4. And then the right cord, same again, make the 4 shape, cross it over, through the bottom left, up through the top right, up through the body of the 4, and tighten off your square knot. So this is where I'm going to put my beads on. Again, so we're going for each of these square knots, we're going to add a bead to the outer cord before we do the first square knot. Okay, so this is the next one. The next 4 cords are these 4. I'm going to put a bead on the left cord of the left side. Push it all the way up. Because we've got this diagonal space, what these beads do is fill that space a little bit. So if this square knot is sitting flat, there's a bit of a space there, so I thought it'd be quite nice to put a bead in. So we've got the 4 cords. Move that one out of the way. And it's exactly the same. Cross over, under the bottom right, up through the top left. Hold the middle 2 down and pull it up so that it's flat. Same with the right hand side. Okay, you can put your bead on that one again. I'm going to do my square knot. And when you get to the middle, you can put a bead on both sides of your square knot, okay? So you put one on that one and one on that one. Okay, on the other side, you can come down this way. You can keep going that way if you want. I'm going to come down this way because I've got, my beads are slightly different to yours. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so this is my second one. I'm going to put it on the right cord of this next group of 4 on the outer cord. So it's the same as that one. Twist it on, pull it through, and then do your square knot as usual, always starting from the left. When you're doing these square knots, try not to tighten them too much, because for these berry knots, we are going to be needing to thread through these middle bits. Right. So you guys will have a berry, a bead between each of these. I don't have one because I've run out of beads. So we're going to now turn each of these square knots into a berry knot. And the way we do that is we do 3 square knots in a row and then we thread them through. So I'll show you how to do that. We've got one there already. Make sure it's not too tight because we need to, the middle of the top 2 cords the top 4 cords, the middle of them, we're going to have to thread 2 of these cords through that, okay? So just give them a little bit of a wiggle just to make sure that there is enough space. That one might be a bit of a bum. It's quite good because you can give it a bit of a wiggle at this stage. So we should be all right there. Right, start with the left one again. So we're not knotting them together, we're going from exactly the same place, and we're going to do 2 more. We're going to do 2 more square knots underneath this one square knot, okay? So starting with the left, tighten it up. Do it on both sides, and that's 1 square knot. And then we'll do the left side again, up and through. Tighten it off. And then the right again, and that is 2 square knots. So now we are left with these 2 cords in the middle that need to be threaded through this hole here. Just above your top square knot, you can see the 4 cords that we made this square knot with, and it's going through the middle hole, okay? So we're going to thread these 2 through that middle hole. You can do them one by one if you want, or you can just shove them both through. Can be a bit of a fiddly, tricky one. Push it through, and then you can pull them through from the outside. And very often, if they're next to each other, one will kind of start pulling the other one through. Okay, we've pulled it right through. So now what you have is a little, if you pull on these middle 2, it will curl those 3 square knots up and round, and you're still left with the 2 on the outside. So what you do is you hold, we're basically going to do another square knot, and it will knot this all together and hold this berry in place. So same again, take the left over the middle 2, do your square knot underneath, and when you tighten it, pull it up so that these go underneath the berry knot. Tight underneath the berry knot. Okay, so then we did the left side, and I'm doing the right side again. And that will secure that berry knot in place. And again, you can give it a squidge and it will kind of reshape it if you want. So that is called a berry knot. I'm going to do the same with the next square knot. So we've got the first square knot there. We need 2 more square knots. That's 1. And that's 2. So we're going to take those 2 again, find that middle hole at the top of the square knots, thread these through. Pull them tight, and we're going to do the other square knot underneath that one. lift it right up. Make sure your square knot goes, you can kind of pull these down and push it up to make sure it's really tight. And then we're going to do the right side to complete our second berry knot. And those beads sit really nicely in between these berry knots. It's a really nice space between them. Okay, let's go again for the next berry knot. 2 more square knots on top or below. One, 2, and then we're going to find that middle point, thread it through. This one's a bit tighter. Square knot to secure. This one's going to be really tricky to get it through. Use a pencil to shove it through. Maybe not my Apple pencil. But hopefully you can still see. I'm just going to make that hole a little bit bigger. So I can thread this through. So this middle one, the hole was just a little bit too small. So I'm just using a paintbrush to get the ropes through. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Come on. Oh, it's being a bit of a bum. There we go, got it. Hello to Instagrammers. Right, we're going to continue with a square knot to secure that berry knot. So I don't know when you guys were cut off, but a berry knot, I think you saw I hope that you saw most of it, but basically we've got our square knots. We're doing 3 square knots in a row, so we've already got the first one. We're going 2 more square knots in that same row, and then we're threading them through. So I'll show you how to do it on this one if you missed it the last time. So with this square knot that we've done them all the way along underneath this double half hitch knot. We've got 1 square knot. We're going to do 2 more underneath. That's half of one. That's a whole one. And then 1 more. One, 2. Is that right? I can't remember how it ends. I'm going to start this one and make sure that if you're not 100% sure, so that one, oh no, that is right, that's finished. So there's the 3 square knots in a row, and then we're going to take the middle 2 of the square knots and we're going to thread it through the middle hole of where the 4 cords of these square knots came through, the middle hole. We're going to thread these 2 middle cords through that middle hole. Sorry if I'm going over something that you've already seen, but I'm just clicky wrists. 1, 2, and it will pull it through, and then we've still got the 2 cords on each side, so we're going to pull this down and carry on and do a square knot with the 2 that have come through. And when you pull this down, it secures that berry knot in place. You can pull it down and then push the square knot up. Pull the middle 2 down, push the square knot up, and then tighten. And that was half a square knot, so we're going to complete it with the right side, and then we're going to make sure that's nice and secure. Okay, with this one, I did the 3 square knots, got the middle 2, post it through that little hole there. Like I said, some of them are tighter than others, so it's hard to sometimes get them through. It's a bit like knitting, where you have to, it has to be tight enough to look neat, but loose enough to not over tighten, if you know what I mean. Right, pulling that berry knot through. And we complete the square knot underneath the berry knot to secure it. And the last one. So we've got the 1 square knot there. I'm going to do 2 more. And then thread these through to make the last berry knot. Pull it tight, do your securing square knot underneath to keep it in. And there you have your berry knots. So already we've learned how to do lark's head knots. We've learned how to do square knots. We've learned how to do double half hitch knots. We've learned how to bead, to thread the beads, and we've learned how to berry knot. Do you feel like you've accomplished something already? Right. We are now going to do another row of double half hitch to frame these lovely berry knots and your lovely beads. Okay, do you remember how to do that? We're going to take the far left cord. This is going to be our traveling cord, and it's going to go all the way along under there, and it's going to keep all of these nice and secure. Okay, so and this will be the last one for the body of our wall hanging. So keep your travelling cord facing in the direction that you'd like it to go. Take the one underneath, loop it around your finger, up and through the loop. And pull it up to secure. How are you guys doing? Do you feel like this is something you can make? Do you feel confident? Do you think you could do it yourself? After doing this, do you think you'd remember how to do it? Or if you're not doing it now, do you feel like you'd like to? Again, we're going to do the same as we did on this top one. Get to the middle one and then stop. So you'll have from this middle berry knot, I've done my double half hitch knots all the way down to the 2 on this side. I'm going to leave these 2 for the travelling knot down this side. If you've got a box and you've got somebody else with you, there should be enough to do 2 of these with your 1 roll of macrame. So if you want to invite anybody else over to do it at the same time, it's close, but I'm pretty sure you should get enough to do 2. So you could share your beads out. Oh, I've done 2 of those. Go and get some driftwood or an old broom handle or something and make it with a friend. Like I said before, find which one of these is slightly higher. So this one's slightly higher, so I'm going to use that one as my travelling cord. So hold it in my left hand. See, it takes a bit of thinking. Hold it in your left hand. Take this one in your right hand. Up and over. Hold the travelling cord straight. Right, here we go. So that is the majority of the body done. What we're going to do now, so here's the one I made earlier. What we're going to learn now is a spiral knot. Now these look really fancy, but they're just half of a square knot, over and over and again. And because you're not completing it and evening it out, you get that lovely spiral. So let's show you how to do that. We're now going to cut some more cord. We're going to cut 4. Why can't I use my fingers today? We're going to cut 4 lengths of 400. Okay, this might be a little bit too much, but I want to make sure that you've got enough, and then we'll cut them off at the end. So 4 lengths of 400. Remember my trick of getting your measuring tape? That's 100 centimeters. So I'm just going to remember roughly where my hands are, and then it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 1 cord. I want 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfecto. So we're going to go for a double lark's head knot. I have to stand up for these ones because they're a little bit longer. And what we need is we want 2 on each side. So can you see on this one, there's a bit of a gap between them. So I'm going to do 2 lark's head knots on each side. We're going to spiral knot, and then we're going to join them in the middle. So do you remember how to do your lark's head knot? We make sure they're even at the bottom. Hold the middle of the cord in front of your piece of driftwood or broom handle or stick. From the front to the back, loop these 2 through that loop, and that's 1 lark's head knot. Another one. Make sure the bottom is even. From the front, over, split it through the hoop, and tighten. And then I'll do the same with the other ones. Over the front, thread these 2 through the loop. Try and make sure they're straight and they don't twist around. Same again. Over, through that loop. Right, we're now going to learn how to do a spiral knot. So as I said, once you know how to do a square knot, you're away. You're absolutely fine, because most of this is a variation of a square knot. So the berry knots are 3 square knots and then knotted over in another square knot. The square knot is obviously just a square knot. And the spiral knot is half of a square knot. So if we always start from the left hand side, our spiral curls inwards, curls in that way. Can you see? I've always started this one from the left hand side. So the one on the left, we're always going to start on the outer cord, on the left hand cord, and it's going to spin nicely inwards. This one on the right, you've probably guessed it, we're always going to use the right hand cord, and it's going to spin inwards. Can be a little bit tricky when you get 2 or 3 in because it starts to twist around, but I'll show you how to get over that. So always from the left cord, make your 4 shape. Make sure these are nice and tight and they're a good distance apart. Make your 4 shape, take your right cord under the bottom right, up through the top left, the body of the 4, and tighten. Give these a pull down and then tighten that up to make sure that they're in the right place. And then again, we're not going to complete the square knot with the right cord, we're going to only use the left cord. Same again, 4. Can you see how that's starting to twist? So you need to make sure that you always know which one is the left hand cord. And the way you find that out, if you get stuck, if you walk away from this and you think, oh no, I don't know which one it is, like it looks like this, is it that way, is it that way? The way you find out is you can trace with your finger, there's a little ridge all the way around, so you can trace it round. This is our left hand cord. So what you can do is kind of twist it back a bit. Standing on my cord. This is the worst bit, just here. Once it gets a bit longer, it's a lot easier because you can just twist it around. So there, I'm twisting it around, that's my left cord. I can twist it all the way around, make it a bit too tight for the minute. And then carry on. And then once you get past that 5th or 6th half square knot, you can, it's a lot easier because it's got a little bit more give. I wonder how many times I've said square knot in the last last week or so. Probably a lot, I reckon. So this is starting to twist around nicely. It's looking really nice. Hold the middle 2 down. Ain't that lovely? So we're continuing with our spiral knot. I'm not quite sure which side to go for, but the easiest way to find out what side I'm working with, because I'm always starting with the left hand side, but obviously it's twisting round, so it's hard to tell. I'm going to trace my finger around this little ridge here, and then I find out that this is my left cord. So we are making the Macrame wall hanging, which is what came in the January Curious Octopus box. I'm currently filming and going live. So you can see that we have learnt already how to do lark's head knots, square knots, double half hitch knots, berry knots, and spiral knots. And everything to make this arrives in a box from Curious Octopus. And every month I send you everything you need to make a completely different craft every single month. And then I go online, a bit like this, and we do a live craft night. I did do the live craft night on Wednesday. Yesterday. No, is it yesterday? What day is it today? Friday. I went live on Wednesday night and we did the live craft night. So I've taught people how to do this. This is the one I made on Wednesday. And we had a really lovely time. I normally do the live and then upload it, but the file to upload to YouTube is corrupt. So I'm having to do it again, which is fine because I'm filming, and that will have to go on YouTube instead. So I can edit that, and yeah, isn't technology wonderful when it works? So if you'd like to get involved, yeah, everything that you need for a to make whatever we're making each month will arrive in the post. It's a bit like HelloFresh or something, where you could go and buy all the stuff if you want. You can watch this video, you can work out what you need, and you can go and buy it and absolutely join in, get involved. I just want people to be more creative, but to make it easier for people, I'm sending you out a whole kit, and then you can learn every month how to make something completely different. It's good for your brain, it's good for your mental health, it's just good for you, and it's fun. And it's a bit of a like, I'd love to do a craft night. I'd love to be able to go to a craft night. I'd love to be able to host a craft night, but I've got kids. I'm a single parent, and very often I haven't got childcare. So this is my way of doing something so that I can still connect with people, I can still do something creative, and I'm not just sat on my own doing it. And I thought, I kind of want to set up this business to solve my own problem, but I'm sure other people have the same issue where they'd like to do something creative and they'd like to go to a craft night, but they can't get out of the house for whatever reason, or there's a lot of there's actually a lot of social anxiety, I think, around at the moment. And I think, a couple of the people that I've been speaking to would struggle to do a Zoom call or to go to a craft night. So this way you can watch, you can get involved if you want, you can comment on the lives if you want, or you could just lurk and watch and just enjoy it from the comfort of your own home without anybody knowing you're watching. And you can just get on and do something creative, but you can kind of be part of that. I could just film these and put them online, but I do really like the live element. I feel like it's a bit more personable, and I think, things go wrong, but it's real life, isn't it? So when you're doing your spiral knot, you can go as far down as you want. Decide how far apart you'd like this, and then if you just hold it roughly over, so this one, you can see there's a gap of about maybe 10 centimeters, and then this has to kind of come down and meet the middle of this, so this one needs to be a little bit longer. Again, can't remember which side I'm on, so I'm going to trace it round, and it's straight already. Just see what's going on with this. Who effing Ray? Yes, indeed, who effing Ray. Ooh. Oh no, that's fine. Sometimes you think, oh, I've gone the wrong way, but I haven't. It's okay. So the cords that we're actually knotting with, you'll notice that they start getting much shorter than the middle two. So look, they stop there. These ones stop all the way down there. That's why you need the extra length for these ones, because you're only using, I mean, if you were really clever with it, you could do them maybe at 300, and then rather than doing your lark's head knot with the tails even, you could have the outer ones longer than the inner ones, and that would save you some macrame cord if you want to be a bit more what's the word, I can't think of the word, but if you want to save your macrame cords. Right, I think that's nearly, maybe one more, maybe two more. Why don't we do two more? Why not, eh? I can see your comments a little bit now. If you have a comment, I can't actually see. My eyesight's got terrible recently. Right, that's about right, isn't it? So we're going to go for the other side now. We're going to do a spiral knot the other way. So make sure that your lark's head knots are even and tight. If you roughly make sure that these are about the same distance apart, you can give it a bit of a wiggle once you're finished. But we're going to go and do the same on the other side. So another half square knot. We're using these 4 cords here. So yes, another half square knot. We're going to do a spiral knot, which is a half square knot. We're going to use the right hand side of these 4 cords because we want it to twist inwards. This one we want to twist inwards, so we're using the left cord and it's twisting towards the right. This one, if we're using the right cord, it's going to twist towards the left. Okay, so make the 4 shape again like we did before. This one under the bottom left, over through the top right, and we're pulling it tight. Make sure you get that first one nice and straight. And again, always using the right cord for this one. It's amazing how much your brain just switches off. I kind of completely forgot what I was doing then. Just got right in the zone of just doing my knots. It's just a really lovely thing once you get your head around it, to just keep going, carry on with your knots until you kind of come back into this world and go, oh yeah. There's people on the internet just watching me daydream and do macrame knots. Twist it right round. So if you want to know how to do any of these knots and you've missed the start, if you go to any of my social medias, curiousoctopus.art, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube, there are mini videos of all of the knots I've used here. The square knot, the berry knot, the lark's head knot. And this video will be on YouTube as soon as I complete it and edit it, sort it out. After you've finished your spiral knots, I'm going to teach you how to do a gathering knot. Despite me re-recording making this whole macrame wall hanging, the part of the video with the gathering knot didn't film. So this next clip is from the live craft night. So sorry that I'm wearing different clothes. So you've got your additional piece of string. You're going to hold these together, put the bit of string at the back, and then hold it with the rest of it. So you basically got your piece of string, but make sure you can get hold of that. With the other bit of this extra piece of string, you're going to make a little loop and then hold that as well. So you're gathering everything up together, but you've got, with this additional piece of string, you've got a little bit of you've got a loop at the bottom and a little bit sticking up the top. Okay, then you're going to take this bit and wrap it around 3 or 4 times. It doesn't matter if it goes, which way it goes round. So you can go either way. So 1, quite tight, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then thread this through that loop. Yes, Diane, thank you. Ah, yeah. And then you pull it up. Is that right? Oh, where's that bit? Yeah. Right. There we go. And then that's holding them together. Right. Okay, now we can do the finishing touches. So if that's, mine's a little bit wonky now, so I can move it over a little bit and it will just even it up. So now we know where this sits and we know we can cut these bits off. That bit at the top, you can, this one you can just snip off. I didn't even open my snippers, I've got some scissors here. Right, let's cut this to whatever length we want it. You can do it shorter or longer. I've done mine on this one. About that long. Okay. And then I've let these come lower. So, what's that? Maybe 10 centimetres? Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. And then if you want to, the best thing to do for this is if you want to know, like, maybe I'll do this one to about this length. This is literally eyeballing it. Just do it however you want. So the 2 middle ones I've cut to the length that I want. And then I want these ones to come about to the middle of this. So if I cut those 2 to the length that I want it to be, and then you can kind of roughly, well, Charlotte, you're a hairdresser, you should be able to do this bit. You can cut kind of diagonally up from this point. When you've done your gathering knot and you've cut the tails to the lengths that you'd like them to be cut, we're going to go ahead and untangle each one of these, of the cords. Each one is twisted with 4 separate cords into that one 5mm cord. So what we're going to do is untwist all 4 cords and then just brush them from the bottom up, and we're going to do that for all of the tails that are hanging down before you can trim the bottom. And I'm really sorry, but the camera angle isn't showing you the bottom of this wall hanging. We're not doing very well, are we? I'd like to blame the technical issues, but that was all me. Oh, so satisfying. Right, and now I'm going to do the same with these. Each one of these can be unravelled. Unravelled and combed. They're a bit easier to comb because they're shorter. So here we are, the completed macrame wall hanging. I've combed all of the bottom out, and then it's up to you. When my sister made this, she absolutely loved it because she used to be a hairdresser. So she really enjoyed the kind of trimming this to perfection. I'm definitely not a hairdresser, but I've seen them do that hairdresser thing with their fingers. So you can do that and try and get the lines a bit. You don't want them super straight because, you know, you still want it to look handmade, don't you? So once you've finished this, you've got some leftover string of various different lengths that you've cut off. So I get one that's like a bit longer. There we go. That's quite a long one. To do, oh, this pole is a bit long. I haven't actually cut it down. Actually, what I might do is continue with this and make a bigger one, a bigger spiral knot to hang a bit lower. Might be quite nice. Yeah, what you can do is just tie a knot on either side with your extra piece of string. Oh, I've done that the wrong way around, haven't I? I should have had it so that the other bit is at the back. just finished making a macrame wall hanging. Ta-da!